Baby Cake, did you know there are 4 key inventions in crypto? You're not going to hear this from anybody else. And the answer is clear. It's because everyone's going to say that the coin they hold is the new invention that matters. But that's wrong. And by the way, you can hold things that are not so bright and not so complicated and can pump to the moon. Dogecoin went to 220x from Elon Musk shilling. Does nothing. What about SHIB? That did 1 million x in the year 2021. From 850 holders to 1.2 million holders, Metcalfe's law applied, gave you 1 million x. That's right. So don't get offended by these. We're here to learn. So have a look at this. Did you know that there are 4 key inventions in crypto so far? Nobody really speaks about it because it's very hard to find an independent, neutral observer like myself. Because when you have a moonshot and you've discovered something that's really cool in crypto, you start to do the moon maths and you realize with the amount of money printing going on, and if you forecast the current double-digit growth rates in crypto, you get some big numbers. And with those big numbers, they become life-changing. Even if you are a relatively wealthy individual, they can go from like life-changing to multiple yacht-owning, island-buying wealth as well. So the numbers get so big. So why am I different? Well, you know why I'm different. I'm here to win the game. I'm here to learn. We're here to win. So we're going to explore this together. Look at the 4 pillars of crypto. Okay, you're not going to hear this anywhere else because no one really understands it, because they look at the price charts and they look at the technology and sometimes there's question marks. So look at this. You can only fork 3 of these inventions. Just 3. So the first one is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, store of value. And here I've written Hex is juicy. Hex much smaller. So this would have been seen as a joke in December 2019 when Hex was first launched, because nobody could conceptualize that you could have another store of value besides Bitcoin. It was the one true king. And if you want to know where that came from, well, I can show you some examples. Look what happened to the other store of value. So you have Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash tried to just make the blocks bigger and try to make Bitcoin faster. And now Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin is down 98, 99%. Didn't work out too well, did it? So also with Bitcoin, it was very hard to grasp why Bitcoin went up in the first place. You have my videos now. You've got my beautiful YouTube. Yes, it is beautiful and it's kind, just like you. You can go type in, go watch any of these videos, man. I can't believe the content here for you. So many videos. You will discover, why does Bitcoin even go up? Do we need it to go up? There's so many things to discover here. And as a very quick general overview, I can go and show you the beginning of Bitcoin, okay? The beginning of Bitcoin, obviously its price went to the freaking moon, all the way down here. You want to do the percentages all the way from October 2009? Wow. Look at these. Can you even count these percentages? Oh my Lord. Okay, so Bitcoin started going up at the start, and the community formed around Satoshi. Satoshi was the leader, the benevolent dictator who did not dump his 1 million coins, because Satoshi owned all of the coins back then, and then it became a big supply that got diluted, and everybody trusted him, anonymous figure. And so as Bitcoin went up, people gathered around and they investigated it and they said, wait, why is Bitcoin going up? And no one could figure it out. And so what they discovered was that Bitcoin was attached to these words like decentralization, censorship resistant, and all these other cute things that we need blockchain for. But people then incorrectly attached the narrative to the price, which is what we humans do, right? Does this sound familiar to anything that's happening today? So as the price went up, people said, oh, Bitcoin's going up because it's decentralized, because it's immutable, because it's censorship resistant. They were wrong. Bitcoin went up because people wanted to transfer value. That's it. That's it. Okay? But this is how traps form, right? This meme was so powerful that even today, people still talk about Bitcoin decentralization. Most people still haven't realized that decentralization doesn't help your bags. It hurts the bags at the start. You need centralization at the start. Bitcoin was centralized at the start. Satoshi had all the coins. He did not dump. So Bitcoin, the very first key invention. Isn't that juicy? What came after that? So the second pillar after store of value was Ethereum. With Ethereum, we have now a general purpose smart contract blockchain. Basically a smart blockchain. So Bitcoin, digital gold, that's the narrative they attach to it. Now Ethereum's got a brain. And have you seen Vitalik's head? His brain can barely fit in his skull. If he's even human, I'll be surprised. So Ethereum now lets you do basic computer functions and mix, match, morph, different code, and you can do cute things on the blockchain now. You can set different conditions to operate how you want to move a smart contract and move money around. And isn't that beautiful? So what comes with Ethereum is the ability to be more flexible. Now, obviously, Ethereum went to the freaking moon as well. As you see, Ethereum launched and it was the second biggest invention in crypto. Of course, these giant. I mean, Ethereum's ICO was 31 cents. In its first cycle, went to $1,400. Ethereum's first cycle did a 5,400x. The only things that can do that were Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the only things that are doing thousands of X's and surviving. Everything else doesn't really make it. This was, that's why these things are rare. That's why it's a second pillar. It earns its right to be the second pillar. Of course, you look back at this now and go, of course Ethereum's a second pillar. Of course. But back in the day, I was not around here. But I went and I investigated. I check out Reddit. I speak and I listen to a lot of the stories from people who are around. Ethereum was considered a freaking scam. Ethereum was considered a scam because of the pre-mine given to the foundation. The Bitcoin maxis said, no, you can't do that. That means you're not decentralized. Remember that word, decentralized. The Bitcoin maxis, because Bitcoin went up so much, and majority of the Bitcoin community, because the majority of the people, they're basically little turtle sizes. Your accounts are smaller, but you have a larger voice in the numbers. So you believe if you keep it decentralized, Bitcoin will keep pumping. But that is a false narrative. Ethereum came and proved that. Ethereum was more centralized. The coins went to the foundation. Not all of them, like 30, 40%, and they distribute them out over time, and it pumped to the moon. And now you can check, if you want to see how Ethereum's gone, you can look at ETH BTC. ETH BTC tells you, hey, how did Ethereum perform versus Bitcoin? So if I had $1,000 to invest back in 2016, how would it have turned out? So if you had your $1,000 today, just today, your $1,000, whatever you made in Bitcoin, you would have made 17 times more money in Ethereum. That's how amazing the Ethereum one was. So clearly, Ethereum added value on top of crypto itself. So isn't that wonderful? Now you have the second pillar. So the first pillar is obviously the store of value. Now this is obviously, we're going to go through this hex part later, okay? So we have store of value. Now we have Ethereum. What about the third and the fourth ones? Okay, so these came together. Technically, I think ChainLink comes number 3. All right, so this is ahead of its time. So the third pillar is going to be ChainLink. You can see it in this picture. It's the third one. All right, so you think, why is ChainLink the third pillar? Well, Ethereum. Ethereum is a general purpose smart contract blockchain. But Ethereum's contracts itself, they're not so smart. You see, the only things you can do on Ethereum are limited to the computational function, which is basically things that people who wear checkered shirts and have a pen in their front pocket, they can do some coding and some words, and they can only fit a limited amount of instructions on the Ethereum blockchain. Even though it's quite a lot, you can significantly increase the complexity and the application use if you had an oracle. ChainLink is that oracle. So in a nutshell, you can write Ethereum is actually for not smart contracts, dumb contracts. And then ChainLink makes them smart. How? How does it make us smart? Well, if we go back, right, we're going to have a look at Link. I just want to show you what Link did since the beginning of time, okay? So anybody who wants to troll you, obviously they always use a linear chart. They go, oh, whoop-de-doo, look at you. You're going down to the floor, aren't you? But if you put it on log chart, you can see ChainLink did a 450x run from its ICO. So why is ChainLink, why is it a smarty pants? So I'm going to get the quick logo for Linky Boo here, and you can see. And if you've noticed, I have a question mark here. Remember, in my first ones, in Bitcoin, Hex forked it, okay? Not really forked it, but made another store of value because the market said, hey, we give value to store of value. We give a market value. Hex is created. Now we have Ethereum. The market gives a value to layer 1 general purpose blockchain. Pulse chain's made out of that. And many other coins too. Why is there a question mark with ChainLink? You ever wondered that? Well, remember Metcalfe's law. I keep saying the value of the network increases with the square of the users, the number of the users. So if you increase the number of users by 10x, you will get 100x price increase. That's 10 squared. But you think, okay, what's that got to do with this? It got everything to do with it. Because in ChainLink, the nodes aren't the people. The nodes are the oracle sources themselves. So what does ChainLink do? Remember, it says it makes smart contracts actually smart. Because on Ethereum's network and the EVM and the limitations, because everything has to be decentralized, the data can't be exceptionally complicated because it's too hard for all these blockchains to talk to each other and send thousands of terabytes of data across themselves and validate each other because it's too big. It's way too big. So they have to prune it. They have to make it as efficient as they can so everything can be in sync. But ChainLink lets you do something juicy. Now, ChainLink breaks away from the traditional decentralization at all costs, but the invention is absolutely critical. ChainLink lets you're a smart contract on Ethereum, so we can get you your cute little smart contract here. You're going to be like a little emoji, a smiley face. You are limited by what Ethereum can do. But what ChainLink lets you do is it says, hey, I need to grab some data from you. I need to grab another data from you, and I need to grab a third piece of data from you. Now, suddenly you have what we call a super application, a smart contract. And you might say to me, why can't you put this data on Ethereum itself? Great question. The answer is because it's impossible. How are you going to fit all of the United Kingdom's health records from a government data node? How are you going to fit them on Ethereum? How are you going to fit fast, updated, real-life information? For example, if there is a live game, and they've done this, by the way. There's a basketball game, and there's players who are playing, and one of them does really well in the match. Well, they've made like NFTs that directly use ChainLink data to enhance the NFT. The NFT will turn red because there's a certain player who did above average scoring for that basketball match. So this is just the tiniest little surface thing. In the future, they've already done this as well. You can have insurance payouts. So how are you going to fit the current weather for Western Australia? How are you going to fit that in the Ethereum blockchain? You can't. It's not a quantum computer. It's a basic computer. It can do a lot of things, but it can't do everything. So what you'll actually do is, now this is where the centralization part comes in. It's got the data's got to come from somewhere. So the data source would obviously have to be one government agency, have to be verified, and that would be basically your source of truth. That's what they call it. You ever listen to the founder of ChainLink, Sergey? He's always talking about what is truth, what is valid, how do we actually do all of these things, and this is why it can't be forked, because you can fork, you might get people into a blockchain, but what you can't fork is that person collecting data for, say, Western Australia's weather. And what they've actually done, I think, in some African countries is if there's a certain weather that's too hot over a continent or a certain area, farmers will get an insurance payout. So the weather is just being tracked. And it says, well, if the average temperature hits over like 32 degrees for this 3-month period, then you're going to get an average payout because it's a drought relief. You pay insurance into this and it does this. So we are just scratching the surface. This is like real world nerd application. There are so many things that are going to be invented, but chaining, the third pillar, you can't make your contract smart without chaining, and you can't fork it. That's why the race of the oracles, it's not even really a race. I mean, now you know why, if you listen to all my tweets, I called ChainLink as a joke the Bug Eater Society coin, because the World Economic Forum and SWIFT, they already know what's up. Okay, they've looked at all these chains and they go, oh, actually, the only thing that we really need to control is ChainLink, because this is the thing that's feeding all the data. So no matter how you think about it, it's not doom and gloom, right? It's okay. You can still participate. If it was doom and gloom, VCs would own this coin. Go and check Masari and go and check Token Terminal. VCs barely own ChainLink. 99% of them don't, which is very interesting. Very interesting. So it's more of a grassroots coin. But this was the third pillar. Now, here's the beautiful part, friends. So once you have this world of all these smart contracts, okay, so remember, you had the store of value. Now you have smart contracts. Now, actually, let's do it again. Now you have a store of value. Now you have dumb contracts. Now you've got smart contracts with pillar number 3. What about the assets? So Uniswap, what an invention this is. Uniswap, crazy. This has like enhanced humanity. And I know it's funny when we say it because we're just nerds on the internet, but man, this thing really leveled up the space. Uniswap as an invention took everything out of this world. Intergalactic things are happening specifically because of Uniswap. So in this world, right? Remember this world, now you have smart contracts, and the smart contracts, they're giving value to different assets, different communities, different ways of producing data, different applications are getting created. The next Uber, the next Menulog, the next Netflix, all those type of things are being made. But now, because we're dealing with financialization of things, how are we going to swap them? Because let's say we didn't have Uniswap. Everything would have to go get listed on every single exchange. And I do mean everything. If you are let's say you're a kid in Nigeria, you're a developer, you've made something that pulls some complex, cool data from ChainLink, and people around the world use it. Like, you can even make an artificial intelligence that learns off people's YouTube feed. So it learns your YouTube habits, and it gives you like videos that are really engaging for you to watch. And it learns off like what you like recently, what you're watching recently. And it would like take payment in a crypto. Imagine just like some kid in a third world country coded something like that, and it was really cool. Well, here's the problem. The problem is, how is that kid gonna go bribe Binance with $1 million to get it listed, to get his coin listed that you need to buy and pay in the asset? You can't do that. How's this little kid gonna do it? Uniswap, the 4th pillar. Absolutely beautiful. Uniswap, obviously, the DEX has been forked. We all know PulseX and many other DEXs, right? PancakeSwap. Everyone's forked this. From 2020, we had a season of it. Uniswap is the key. So now that we've gone through 1, 2, 3, and finally 4, Uniswap changes everything, because now Uniswap introduces a beautiful concept. What I love about Uniswap, friends, is the fact that it makes you rethink everything. Because with Uniswap, okay, Uniswap and the code and how everything works, it shows you that everything is just a pair. So if you want to provide a value to any asset, it has to be linked with something else. And you put them in a pool. You provide 2 tokens, and now suddenly people can trade in and out. And it all goes off the ratios. And anybody can list any token. That's the most beautiful part about this. So looking through crypto, this is all we've got. If you want to know, what does the market give proper value for? These are the 4 pillars. I'm going to write this down. This is actually the 4 pillars of crypto. The 4 pillars of crypto. If you could make a crash course on anybody so they can see, like, hey, what does the market actually give value to? It would be the 4 pillars. So when you look at the market, you go, okay, what is the collective mindset of every human in crypto? What are we actually saying has value? Because remember, that all of these are financial experiments. There's been thousands and thousands. I mean, you go on CoinGecko, we're up to, there's 10,000 coins listed up here, but the real number's over like 50,000. I think CoinMarketCap is 25,000 and more and more and more. But these are the things you can actually take home. These inventions. These are the actual things out of like 50,000 coins. This is where we can say, whoa, we have a protocol here that has value. And what's interesting to know, right? Uniswap, the coin, you look at it, it's just a useless governance token, UNI, right? The coin does nothing. There's a fee switch that can be activated, but the market's smart. So Uni, the technology is so good that it has the highest volume in all of crypto on its DEX, and it still has value relative to Ethereum in the same ratio as all the other DEXs, despite there being no staking, no buy and burning, no sexy fees, no nothing. It's just a bland protocol, and anyone can fork it, and anyone can try vampire attack it if they want. But it's like this thing is so good and so powerful, people are like, hey, this can't go below a certain price, even though your coin's useless. It's very interesting. That's why I keep telling you, it's all about the community, right? The community knows. Now, what's interesting about Uni as well is there is no community. There are no unicorns on Twitter. No one defends this coin. No one. I used to have large weight in Uni because I understood this was one of the pillars back in 2020, but I'm too ahead of my time. The market doesn't understand it yet, The market doesn't understand it. The beautiful part is PulseX came along. Now we can participate, and now we can get everyone excited. And now I hope you get to see the power of what a community can do, because it's good enough. It's good to have great technology, but technology means nothing if there is no community behind it. Otherwise, you will just sink into oblivion. You need the community. The community trumps all. In Metcalfe's law, does it say anything to do with code or product or anything? No. Does it even say anything to do with cash flow? No. It says if you increase the number of users, you'll get a parabolic price pump. Also, if you start lowering users, you are going to get a crash, okay? Like a deep crash. Has nothing to do with any of those. Networks. This is the most powerful concept. So what I love about each of these is if you understand each of them and why they have value, you can make a lot of money. And I will proudly say I've looked through all these other freaking coins. All the VCs have them. They're either too many cycles out. But this, I can proudly say, these options here, you're going to kill it. I think Hex BTC will go up. I think PLS versus Ethereum will go up over 3 years. And I think PLSX will go up versus Uni and versus Ethereum. There you go. Can't do one for ChainLink for obvious reasons. You can fork ChainLink, but you can't fork those nodes. So yes, you can fork a theoretical Oracle, etc., but you can't get those people, those government agents, you can't get those sport teams, those sport communities to feed their data into you. They're only feeding it to one place. They're only going to feed it to one Oracle, and then everything gets dispersed out of that. That's why it's a big part of my portfolio here. But you don't even really need it, man. You have all these other options. But I'm just here to explain to you the story of like, what can we actually hold their head up high and go, yes, everything's a scam, whole industry's a scam, but these things are actually changing the world. Now, I pray, fingers crossed, I pray that we get more pillars coming. Maybe there'll be another one in the next few years. Wouldn't that be great? But chances are, you won't even know they're a pillar. You will have no idea. You will be in disbelief. ChainLink, you should see how many people faded ChainLink at the start. Uniswap, look how many people are fading Uniswap now. Everyone laughs at DEXs because they're like, oh, the volume, etc., etc. But I think that the shackles are going to change. And if you want, because we're contrarian here, obviously everyone understands store of value now. They've had 14 years of Bitcoin to understand it. Layer 1 chains went nuclear hype in 2021. People understand layer 1 chains. By the way, if they understand it, that does not mean it's good. That is -1 point deduction. You want to go in places people still don't get it. That's where you want to be. People don't get these oracles, really. They still don't get them. And no one really gets how big and powerful DEXs are going to be in the future. Because, so I'm going to make the case and tell you right now. What I like right now is, I know DEXs had a bit of a run in previous cycle, but no one actually really understands DEXs. Because in the world, in the future, think about the infinite possibilities of assets that can be created if you launch a coin, right? Let's say an entrepreneur. You launch a coin and it plugs in to ChainLink Oracle nodes and it grabs certain like unique data, sports teams, weather events, whatever it is, this entrepreneur and his field is. There's so many different fields, infinite fields. And imagine you are then placing it on dexes on these chains. Think about how many small businesses there are out there. Think about all the IT and the infrastructure and all of that. All of these people will want a financial part when they put an invention out. They want a way to get revenue stream. They want people to swap and buy the assets. They want to be people to use the tokens. Now, I know it sounds like all fluff right now. You don't even need it to be real. You don't need it to be juicy. You just need people to think there's something there, and you make a lot of money. And with that, so why even explain all this? That's because if people can get their imaginations like that, then the DEX's volume will go up. DEXs are all based off volume. All of their pricing, if you look at the daily volume of Uniswap, and then the daily volume of PancakeSwap, and then the daily volume of the other DEXs, they're all similarly in a ratio versus their main chain. It's all about the daily volume. The market's very interesting, isn't it? How it somehow weaves and works its way, and it gives a fair pricing to these things with its own unique mechanisms, you know? So volume, nothing to do with Ethereum and layer 1 chains. Layer 1 chains, they go off daily active users. So it's very interesting. It's like no one really knows how to put all of these things together, but if you go to each coin, there are people who understand the value. They're not going to sell these things minus 99% because they truly understand, like, hey, yes, this thing doesn't have traditional stock market cash flow, but there is something we can like stand on here. So obviously our job is, our goal, because you're a baby doll baby cake with a straight back and you eat bananas with 3 ice cubes, you want to find out what that key metric is. And I have. So I've gone on to look into hex.com. Hex has 200,000 stakers, 200,000 people in it. Pulse Chain has either launched or not launched, doesn't really matter. To you, you got to think, okay, doesn't that mean there's 200,000 users now on Pulse Chain? Yes, there is. Ethereum has 250 to 400,000 daily active users. So I know there is a big monetary premium put on Ethereum, but now you can start to connect the pieces of the puzzle together and you go, wait, the market is missing something. Yes, of course they are. They're always missing something because everyone's just looking at the color of the candles and they want to believe, okay, this thing is down, therefore the narrative is true about it. That's what they always say. And if this other asset is up, they'll believe the narrative about that too. So our job is to always contrarian. You don't take the opposite side of everyone just for the sake of taking the opposite side, but you have to just look. You go, okay, everyone says this thing's worth a penny. And you go look at it, you go, hey, maybe it's not worth a penny, maybe it's worth a diamond. And that's our goal. So, baby dolls, this is a crash course, right? 4 pillars of crypto. You've learned something. I pray, fingers crossed, we are around for the 5th one. Tell mum and dad that you love them.